Of course, I'd like to see the county stay whole, but I don't think there's any chance of that at this point. I think when you look at Oconee County and the number of Republican votes that sit in the county, and when the people that are drawing the lines in Atlanta see that and how they can maintain Republican control, it's almost assured it's going to be split up. We've made our voices known to everybody we know to talk to about trying to keep them whole, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. All the best we can hope for is a true division of the county that makes sense, and I don't want to say.
You know, nobody wants to see Oconee County broken up. I don't think it does us any good. I guess it does give us two voices at the Capitol in some way, but quite often the guy who represents the minority piece of any county has a majority piece of another county, a surrounding county. And if both counties need the same piece of legislation, that works pretty well. But if one county has one kind of need and the adjoining county has another kind of need, the guy with the smaller representation in a smaller county is apt to vote with the more populated areas that it represents. But I had a conversation with Mr. McKillop about it. Chuck and I talked about it briefly, I believe, at a ball game here a few days ago. It's almost exactly what I would have guessed it would have been as soon as I heard Mr. McKillop had made a deal with leadership at the State House. And you know, I don't know that I like those deals. I don't know that it's going to work out the best for us. And I told Mr. McKillop that. I was glad that he was willing to come over, but I wasn't glad that he had to take a piece of Oconee County to be able to do that. So I was relatively negative in my conversation with him about that.
I have to agree with Jim and John that I hate to see Oconee County split. I think, and I guess one of the fears I have is that we're going to get into a situation where we need something and another county needs something and we're kind of left in the dirt. And each county is so different in their needs that I think it makes our job harder, because we're going to need to really reinforce with our representatives what we need and why we need it to support Oconee County.
I think this is probably one of those issues that all five are going to agree. I had a conversation with Representative Bill the other day, and I don't think I was much different than Jim. And I talked with Chuck as late as last week about it, and I talked with Bill Calvert back when I think we had the public meeting on campus. So I think everybody knows what our light is, but it's not going to happen. And I think you try to make the best of it. The unfortunate thing, I think, what Margaret's talking about too is Clark County has issues that may not be in our best interest, and vice versa. And it makes it difficult on that state rep or senator who represents a real diverse district. I mean, it's like our Superior Court circuit is probably one of the most diverse circuits in the state of Georgia, if not the most. So it makes it real difficult. So, we're just going to have to do the best we can, and because if somebody's serving part of our citizens, we got to work with them to try to make it the best for this county, because we may have a minority section that's part of a bigger block, but I think as elected officials, we can't leave our folks out in the grass somewhere. So I told Doug, we'll do the best we can, we'll work through it. And I told him, I said, things, if you're doing something we don't like, phone's going to.
I can't disagree with anything other commissioners have said. I actually, I did speak at the public hearing on campus and requested at that time that Oconee County remain whole. I've had conversations with Doug and McKillop and of course with Chuck, and request and desire that the county remain whole. I too kind of felt like that there might be some adjustments knowing what had taken place as far as party affiliation was concerned in the past, or what may occur to Oconee. Again, I don't know how much, and we've all made the phone calls, we've all expressed our desire that Oconee remain under one House of Representative member. Margaret, I know you remember just like I several years ago when we had Farmington precinct was in, I think one senator that was on the precinct that he had at that time. And I think on the opposite end, Bogart, Jim, as you recall, was represented by an individual. And these folks, I think, did feel like that they were somewhat left out of the process because of the small minority that Oconee County represented in their particular district at that time. So I think that's an issue that our citizens may have a feeling that that's occurred. But I do know that our only alternative as far as county commissioners are concerned on issues that face Georgia, and with so much happening in the legislature that affects county government with all of us call it unfunded mandates, but there are many of them that affect us. We've got to have a good, strong working relationship with our representatives and our senators to make the voice known so that perhaps they'll vote in the right way. As you said a few minutes ago, if that doesn't happen, I think that's going to be some issues that we face at the time when they qualify in the future. But, we're going to have to deal with whatever hand of cards that we're dealt. But all of us, again, desire that the county remain whole. Will anything happen in the next 3 weeks? Chuck, I doubt it. As far as might be some minor things. One thing that concerns me about this, and we all have seen those maps for precincts within the county, where we do have a large number of voters that are in each particular precinct. And I know that our elections office is looking at some point in trying to equalize some of the voters in the precincts so that the voters are not standing in line such a long time to vote. Well, if that occurs, and this may be something that the Board of Elections may want to implement, and if they do, they have to have the Justice Department approval for that to occur. But if that does occur, then in some precincts we may have split precincts with 2 different representatives there. And that's confusing to voters, when that could occur. But anyway, long story, but that's something we're going to have to deal with.